Hello you guys. Today I am coming to you guys with my birth story. Um, as you guys know, I had Carter on June the 13th. If you've checked out the arrival video that I posted, he was born 7 days ago. He's officially a week today. He was born via C-section. It was a planned C-section. I knew my whole pregnancy that I was going to have a C-section. So basically, I'm just going to tell you the whole story of me arriving at the hospital and what happened after and everything that happened during that process and me leaving the hospital. Okay, so when I arrived at the hospital, my surgery, they told me to be there at 5 o'clock, but then she was like, be a little late, don't show up right at 5. So I got there, it was about 5:10, 5:15, I want to say. I got there and I went inside the hospital, and the women's center, I think, is on the second floor if I remember right. So I went up to women's center, which is labor and delivery. I checked in to the labor part, and as soon as I checked in, I was the only person scheduled to give birth. They had no other mothers on the floor that was supposed to give birth that morning. What I mean by that is nobody else had a planned C-section, and nobody else had came in saying their water or anything had broke. So basically, I received all the attention of all the nurses that morning. So they put me in a room. Once they put me inside, well, when I first got there, before I even went to the room, she took all my bags and she put me on the scale right in front of the nurse's station, and she weighed me. And then we took all my bags to the delivery room, well, the labor room, and I went into there and I sat on the bed, and she came and brought me the gown and the hospital socks, and her and the nurse that first checked me in and another nurse came in and started doing all of my paperwork and stuff. So after I had changed and put the socks on, they came and they put the compression socks. Well, it's not even really socks. It's like compression, what I want to call them. Basically, it's these compression things, compression straps, or it's like if you ever worked out and you put the little weight things on your ankles and they're Velcro and you open them and you close them around your legs. It's exactly like that. So they put those on my legs and they hooked it to a machine at the bottom that was hooked to the bed, and that was to basically massage my legs to keep the blood circulating during the surgery and after the surgery, because laying in the bed, I already had preeclampsia and my legs were swollen. They want to make sure that you have a good blood flow to the bottom of your body. So they gave me those. They covered me up with covers, and then she came back and we started all my paperwork. So immediately we started the paperwork about the consent, about the anesthesia, and getting the spinal tap and everything that I was there for. And I had to fill out all my information, the stuff that wasn't faxed over from the doctor's office, and what else? We already did the birth certificate information. She went ahead and had me fill that out before he was born, which all that consisted was basically is what his name was going to be, my name, dad's name, stuff like that. Just the general information that you fill out, just like when you go to the doctor. And then after that, that's when everything started. So they went ahead and they put my IV in. They put my IV right here, and then she drew blood out of this arm. Once they did that, they hooked me up to the oxygen machine, the blood pressure machine, and they had to keep that going so they could keep a monitor on my vitals and make sure everything was okay. My blood pressure wasn't raising, my oxygen wasn't going down, stuff like that. They hooked the fetal monitor to me just like I had in my previous video at my doctor's office. They hooked the fetal monitor to me so they could monitor the baby. Y'all excuse this, I was nursing and he fell asleep and he just let it drip down. So TMI, but that's what it is. But basically the fetal monitor, it keeps a monitor on the baby's heart rate, make sure that he's okay, make sure his heart rate isn't dropping or anything. They came and they gave me the medicine in the IV, and basically I had to sit there and wait for my doctor to come in. He showed up maybe about 30-45 minutes after I got there. He came, and him and the lady doctor, that both of them from my doctor's office, showed up, and they came and they talked to me about the surgery, made sure I was okay, prepped me, and did everything that I was supposed to do. So after that, they came in and they gave my sister her scrubs to go back with me so she could go ahead and get dressed, but she still wasn't allowed to go back with me yet. So while she was getting dressed, they wheeled me to the back for me to go ahead and get my spinal tap. Now, my spinal tap, child, I hate needles, first of all. So let's go ahead and say that. I hate needles. Needles are not my friend. I don't ever want to be stuck with another needle. But I know that's not possible. As we go through life, we're going to have to go through things, go to the doctor and get stuck. But still, I will never get over them. That's why I don't have any tattoos. So when I went there to get my spinal tap, it was maybe about, I want to say it was already 3 nurses in the surgery room. The anesthesiologist, he was already in my room, the labor room, because he came in to talk to me and make sure I was okay. He was like, I want to get to know you so I can talk to you while I'm doing the spinal tap to keep you calm. So he came in my labor room and he's the one that actually pushed my bed down to the surgery room. And he talked to me the whole way there. He was really, really nice, really, really cool. Then while I was in there with him, he was an anesthesiologist nurse. Then when I was the main anesthesiologist came in to monitor him and make sure everything was going good in case he needed help with me. And then my 2 doctors came in at the same time. So I was already on the bed. So what they had me do was sit up on the edge of the bed. So I sat up on the edge of the bed. They gave me a footstool, and I had to put my feet up basically to where my feet was right here. Basically, when I'm sitting, my knees basically was right here. And I had to bend over on the edge of the bed just like this. And they gave me a pillow to hold. And I had to hold the pillow like this and keep breathing while he was in my spine. So while I'm like this, he had to take the needle and he tapped on my back to find the spot that he needed. And then he found it. And once he found the spot that he needed, he told me to sit very still, take a deep breath, and don't move at all, because if you move, you can cause that needle to move, and you can be paralyzed for the rest of your life, because your spine is nothing that you want to play with. So I had to sit there. Now, mind you, I already told you I'm terrified of needles, so when he told me he was getting ready to stick, I freaked out, because I'm really terrified of needles. It wasn't like, no, but my nerves. So they had a nurse standing in front of me already just to help me. She was helping me like this as I was holding the pillow like this. So she was holding me down like this, talking to me, keeping me calm. My doctor was right here beside her, and they was just talking to me back and forth, and the 2 anesthesiologists was behind me. So then I felt the stick. Once you felt the stick, okay, the stick was fine. It was over with. It hurt, but then it was over with. It was done. I thought that was it. He said, nope, you still got to stay very, very still. The medicine is going in. Soon as the medicine started going in, when I tell y'all my back felt like it was on fire, my back was on fire. Now mind you, I had a C-section with my daughter before, and I had a spinal tap, but I don't recall any of the procedure, because my daughter's C-section was an emergency C-section because I had preeclampsia before, but they caught it at the last minute and her heart rate was already dropping. So I didn't remember anything. That C-section was literally done and over with, because I was already freaking out about whether or not my baby was going to survive. So this C-section was like, I really got to sit there and take everything in that was happening. So when that started happening, the fire in my back started happening. You literally can feel it. It was like it's like you literally could feel water or something moving around your back, like fire, but you could feel your lower part of your back, something just going like this. And immediately, I didn't feel nothing else after that. Like, it was literally fire. Once the fire calmed down, I could feel nothing but numbness all over my back. And then it started going down to my legs. As soon as I told them that I could feel the fire in me, they immediately snatched everything and had to lay me down instantly, because he knew my body was about to go numb and he didn't want me to fall off the side of the bed. So as soon as that happened, he was like, okay, lay it back, lay it back, lay it back. So I laid back immediately and they laid me down. And then he was like, okay, it's go time. So as soon as they laid me down, I felt the gown come up. Then they put the blue shield over me, which the shield, it went down. And if I'm lying down, it was like this from here out, basically. So all of this part of me was exposed, but I'm laying back, and all I can see is this big blue cover in front of me. And the the lights in the ceiling. That's all you could basically see. You could see the top of the heads of the doctors. They was really, really tall, but really all you saw was this big blue shield. The anesthesiologist nurse that was already with me, he stayed at the top of my head during the whole procedure, talking to me, keeping me calm. He talked to me about my daughter. He talked to me about everything else, just keeping me calm while they did the whole procedure. After they put that blue shield up, they went and got my sister. Then she was allowed to come in as they started cutting. They had already started cutting before she walked in because they like to work quick. So both my doctors, I told you I had one male, one female, both from my OBGYN office, started on each side. I heard him talking to her. He was like, you start on this side, I'll start on this side, we'll meet in the middle. They cut me, met in the middle. They was like, it's go time. I heard them talking the whole time. Next thing I know, I was probably there maybe laying back down for 2 minutes after they said it was go time. Then I felt somebody pushing on my chest. Baby pulls out, cried immediately. I heard him start crying. I didn't get to see him immediately. I heard them talking. As he was crying, he cried above me for a good minute. Then I saw them walk him over. My sister was talking to me because they raised him up where my sister could see him, and my sister was like, oh, you got a pretty little boy with a head full of hair. He gonna be a chocolate baby. She got to see him instantly. They asked her to walk over to the side where the weight thing and stuff was. They didn't weigh him at that point. They just walked him over and washed him off a little bit and then wrapped him up and then brought him around to me. So they brought him around to me. I finally got to see him. He was beautiful. He was, I was about to say he was the most beautiful thing I've seen, but I have a daughter. I have beautiful babies, I'm going to just say that. He was another most beautiful thing that I have ever seen in my life. When they brought him over there to me, I said the same thing my sister said. He has a head full of hair. And I just looked at him and I was like, oh my gosh, my baby is here. He was so tiny. And then they took him back away from me and walked him over there and weighed him. And then my sister got to bring him over there and let him. She continued to hold him. I didn't get to hold him. She continued to hold him while they stitched me up. And I got to watch him like this. I didn't get to hold him till I got back to my room. But basically, she just held him like this and let me watch him while they finished stitching me up. And he weighed 5 pounds, 15 ounces. And they had measured him at 20 inches long. So after they was finished stitching me up, they told my sister to walk with them to the nursery. They was going to finish washing him off and doing everything that they needed to do. The foot stick and all of the hospital bands and stuff on him. So they did that and took her on to the room. I was still laying on the bed getting stitched up, and they was doing everything that they needed to do. So I laid there, I think, for another good 10 minutes while my sister was already gone back to the labor room. So after I had finished getting stitched up, they checked on me, made sure everything was okay, and then it was time to be wheeled away. So then they wheeled me back to the room that I was in for labor. When I came back in there, my sister was in there and the baby. There was two nurses in there and attending to the baby, and my sister was in there, and they were still cleaning up the baby and putting his bands and stuff on. They put my bed back where it was, and then I'm trying to think of what happened after that. Oh, the lady said I had to stay in there until I could start to feel my legs, and then they would put me in the delivery room. So I think I was like a good 15 minutes after she came back and checked on me. I was still numb, like real numb on the bottom. But she was like, move your legs, move your toes. I didn't feel like I was moving anything, but she was like, I said, I can't because I'm still numb. She said, no, baby, you moving them. She's like, it's in your mind. You telling your body to move, even though you can't feel it moving, you really moving. So she was like, I think it's okay for you to go back, even though, like, I was like, I'm still numb, I don't feel nothing. She was like, it's okay for you to go back because I saw it move, your sister saw it move. I was like, okay. So they put me into the delivery room. I was like, you know what, that's fine. I get to hold my baby, that's all I'm worried about. And eating. I kept talking about eating while I was under the medicine. They kept laughing at me because I was kept asking for food. Mind you, you couldn't eat after 10 o'clock before your surgery. So 10 o'clock the night before, I had to stop eating, and I was hungry. So once I got back in there, I was like, just get my baby, and I want some food. So I finally got to hold my baby. They set up my delivery room, and I ordered my first food of the day, and I was so happy. And then everything after that was just basically tending to me and tending to the baby. came in and they checked on me. They checked to make sure when they moved me from the labor bed to the delivery bed that my catheter didn't come out, because they had to put the catheter in just in case I had to go to the bathroom, which the catheter stayed in me that whole first night, and they took it out the next morning because they needed me to get up and walk around on my own and to be able to use the bathroom on my own. But other than that, everything was smooth sailing after that. I didn't actually go to sleep after my C-section. I stayed up until about 5 o'clock that following morning, and I was up holding the baby on my chest all night, and then he slept basically the whole time. But I did get to breastfeed him the first day, not immediately after he was born. It was maybe a couple of hours that he got hungry, because when I held him he was asleep, and then I breastfed him and he immediately latched on. Like, he came out the womb like sucking on his fingers, but he fell asleep like that. So when they gave him to me to breastfeed, then he just latched on, and it was, I'm not gonna say it was a pleasant experience. It was my first time breastfeeding. It was painful. It was not what people explain to you to be. So it's just your own experience. Like, it's something that you just experience and you never really know the pain. Like, it was different for me. It was just a different experience for me. But yeah, I only stayed in the hospital for 2 days. I went home on the third day, 2 full days, and I went discharged the third day at like 9 o'clock that morning. So they literally kicked me out the hospital. That second day, I got up and used the bathroom by myself, but I had to have the nurses help getting out of bed, and they walked me to the bathroom. But every time after that, I was able to get up out of bed by myself as long as I was on medication, so I didn't feel anything. And then that third day, I got out of bed by myself. I dressed me and Carter, and that was it. Oh, on the second day, he did have his circumcision. I was not in the room to see it. They actually took him away. My doctor that delivered him is the one who did his surgery. He took him away, and he went and did it. So I don't know exactly what all happened, but he is healing up nicely. He did say the procedure went well. He really didn't cry. They said he really didn't cry when he got stuck for any of his shots either. So I thought that was a good thing. I did get him vaccinated. He did get his first shots in the hospital. I know some people are against getting kids vaccinated. I am not. My daughter has received all her vaccines, so I don't have a problem with him being vaccinated. He did receive his vaccinations, so that went fine. Anything else was just absolutely fine and perfect. The only problems that I had in the hospital was they kept telling me I was going to have a lactation consultant come and watch me breastfeed and help me with tips and latching on. She came, but it wasn't like that. She came in for a minute and was like, did the nurses go over breastfeeding with you, like how to latch, or did they tell you anything or ask any questions you have? I was like, they really can't answer questions because half of these nurses didn't even have kids. And they was like, I've been waiting on you. And she really didn't answer all my questions either, nor did she watch me breastfeed him. She was just like, okay, just make sure that the whole areola is covered and he doesn't just latch on to the nipple. And that was really all she told me, and walked out the room. So I don't feel like that consultant really helped me. The nurses that I had, they were amazing. They really did help me a lot. I did appreciate that. I did have one nurse that got on my nerves. She just seemed so arrogant, like she knew everything and really didn't want to be there or really didn't want to help you. It was just like, okay, well, I'll be back when it's time for your medicine, and that was it. Like, she ain't be like, page the college bell if you need me, call me. She was not that friendly. But other than that, everything else was fine. I didn't get my tubes tied or anything. This is my second child. I don't think I'm going to have any more. But, you know, God, you never know what God wants you to do. But I plan on this being my last child. That was my second C-section. That was it, you guys. Let me know what you guys experienced with your second C-section, how everything went. I'm going to do another video showing you guys my scar and how it's healing up. And that's just it. I'm going to do a breastfeeding video as well, you guys. Let you know how my breastfeeding experience is going. But comment down below. Let me know how you guys C-sections went, how your birth stories went. If you had any problems at your hospital, how your procedures went. If you enjoyed it, if it's something that you would want to experience again. Give me any tips about breastfeeding, you guys. And just anything that you guys want to share with me. Don't forget to thumbs up this video. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. And, you know, just stay tuned for the next video. I'm going to show you guys Carter before I close out this video. He's laying on what I call a miniature boppy. Oh, I fell. This pillow here, he loves it. I lay it in his bassinet and he lays on it, honey. He'll turn over to the side and be hugged onto the pillow by the end of the night. Like he think it's a real person. Like how you want to spoon with somebody and cuddle up. He be not latched on to this pillow. He really loves it. He's sleeping, so I'm going to show you briefly. But here is baby Carter. Let's see if we can get his whole face there. Here is baby Carter. Got his little mittens on again. I keep his mittens on because he loves to scratch his face. And he just got on a little onesie today. And his blanket. So that is Carter. And we will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.